Late Age Ulm, Black Forest. After years of civil war, the Iron Kingdom crumbled. During the Night of Treason, a great malediction was placed upon the kingdom. The forest became dark and hostile. Wolves and creatures even worse stalked the land. Slowly, the kingdom recovered, but it was not what it once was. The knightly order was all but destroyed, and the master smiths had disappeared. The secrets of black steel were forgotten. An order of black priests emerged in Ulm in the last days before the Civil War. They formed an iron cult, consolidated their position, and forbade the use of magic. Magic outside religion was announced to be sacrilegious, and few surviving master smiths were put to the flames. Although magery was forbidden, there are some fortune tellers and members of the Order of the Illuminated Ones who secretly ply their trade in the arcane. Oh, Ulm, what a tragedy! How far the mighty have fallen. The horrendous civil war and the malediction that results from that have all but hollowed out the once proud Black Steel nation. Let's take a look at their national features. As a race, we are stocky humans, and we have a production bonus in all castles. The stocky humans are the Ulmish people. The Ulmish people have the slightly higher HP and strength in general, and a bit of a penalty to their magic resistance. That's going to be all of our humans here. For military, we have medium infantry, stealthy rangers, knights, and ghoul guardians. For magic, astral, blood, earth, and a little bit of air, death, fire, and glamour. Our priests are weak, but they are inquisitors. For scales and blesses, we have a turmoil limit of +1 and a magic limit of +1. So this is going to be quite a change up from what we have had in the past. For buildings, we build standard forts for the age, that is citadels, and our forts produce 25% more resources, so quite a good bit more. For sites, we have 3. The Ruined Keep gives us 2 death gems and allows us to recruit our Ghoul Guardian and Ghoul Commander. The Black Forest gives us a Glamour and an Astral Pearl, allows us to recruit Wolf Herd and Fortune Teller. And the Black Temple allows us to recruit the Black Templar and the Hockmeister, which is our sacreds. Overall, quite a transformation here. They kind of look similar. You're like, oh, okay, it's the same as it was in Middle Age, but just less of them. It's not. We have fallen a long, long ways from there, unfortunately. And we're going to see that here. Units and Sacred. For units, we have a much reduced roster compared to earlier times. Let's start with our villain. These are generically kind of crappy event indies that we can recruit. The good thing is they are very cheap. 10 gold, 5 resources, 4 recruitment points. Do note, these are not Ulmish men, apparently, for some weird reason. These are standard humans. They have cruddy morale. They are dirt cheap at 8. They have stealth, mountain survival, forest survival, and they are undisciplined. They're wielding a mace and a short bow, and they have a leveler cuirass and a leveler cap. I don't particularly see a great use for these. The one thing you could use them for would be to help as patrollers, but even there, we have something better available to us. But 8 gold for this, it would be okay to patrol with if you had to, I suppose. Next up, we're moving into our troops. As mentioned above, I do generally agree we have mostly medium troops, although we do have some heavies. Starting us off here is the Pikeneer. 10 gold, 20 resources, 9 recruitment points. That good hardy Ulmish stock, so good HP, good strength. Otherwise, though, that magic penalty does matter. A lot of nasty spells are magic resistance negates or halves, and we are not good at that. These guys are not particularly well trained, so they only have their 10 morale, but they are 8 gold per year, so very, very cheap there. They're equipped with a length 5 pike, and they're decent with it. 10 attack is fine. 18 piercing damage is actually fine. Where they're let down, though, plate cuirass and an iron cap. So 14 on the body, 16 on the head. In middle age, and I believe I'm going to stick with it here in late age, 16 is kind of the premier damage you want to do to be able to fight in a line. So most things are shooting at kind of that level. And having the 14 defense means you actually have a lot of attrition, that more than you might expect. Like, you kind of look at this guy, at least I do, and I'm like, oh, that's a pretty nice little troop there. But only 10 attack isn't going to get you as many repels as you'd hope. And the 14 protection on the body isn't going to stop as much damage as you'd hope. So a little bit on the weaker side here. Map move is only 12, so they're not particularly fast either. Combat speed of 10. Moving up, we have the halberdier. This is equipped and trained the exact same way. It is another Ulmish troop. 10 gold, 22 resources, 9 recruitment points. Wielding a halberd. I like halberds, but they're very hard to use. Natively, they have a -1 attack. They give you an extra defense. They are length 3, so you could, in theory, repel, but 9 attack, you're not going to be great with it. You have a 50-50 of doing either slashing or piercing, 23 damage. So that's really nice. I like that. You can hit hard enough to take on pretty much anything, but at only 9 attack, you're going to struggle a little bit. You're not going to have great attack density or anything. They are the same combat speed as your pike, so maybe you do like 2 pikes and one of these guys in a square by alternating your recruitment. Could be a thing. That way you have a little bit better chances to repel, a little bit of better chances for pokey poke, and then maybe with the harassment penalty this guy hits. I don't know. They're fine. They're not bad, but I worry about that low attack skill, especially against high defense troops. Next up, we have the infantry of Ulm. And again, you're probably looking at this guy and going, oh, okay, it's the middle-aged guy. No, we have lost that black steel plate, and that hurts a lot. Like a lot. 10 gold, 23 resources, 9 recruitment points. As you can see, we need almost triple the amount of resources on these guys. So you're going to need a lot of resources. You're definitely going to want production. These guys are, again, basically the same. They're equipped the same, but they picked up a tower shield and they've traded out their long weapon for a morning star. They're also a little bit better trained because they have an 11 attack. I think that comes from the morning star. Yeah, +1 attack. So same training even, but with the morning star at 11 attack, and remember, you get +2 when you attack a shielded unit, a 13 attack for your base line troop that does 17 blunt or pierce damage is not terrible. I actually kind of like these guys for that, but only 14 protection. Yes, you have the tower shield. Yes, that will help, but I've been shocked in my test games the attrition that these guys actually take. I kind of was like, oh, okay, yeah, these are the good heavy infantry in the middle. No, these are medium infantry with a tower shield, not heavy infantry with a tower shield. And it turns out that's a pretty big difference there. Offensively, they're actually pretty decent. I like Morning Stars. A lot of line type troops are going to have shields, so 13 attack makes them actually really precise, and the damage is enough to get through and do work. Do note, combat speed's only 8, so if you want to mix in the longer troops, they're going to get ahead of these guys, so that does not work particularly well. I would say if you do want to do that, maybe have a line of these guys in front, and then some halberdiers behind them that can fill in as these guys die to bring forward those heavier weapons and maybe attack into slightly fatigued out enemies. Might be one way to do it. Again, that really low map move. We're getting nowhere in a hurry on Ulm. Next up, we have the Ranger of Ulm. Finally, something that I can be kind of proud of here. So again, Ulmish stock, 12 gold, 8 resources, 14 recruitment points. They are wielding an axe, they have a crossbow, and they're in leather armor. They have stealthy and force survival. These guys are really nice. Crossbows just in general are good, and this is a very massable crossbow. And for their off weapon, I actually like axe. I much prefer that over a dagger for sure. 10 attack with 19 slashing damage isn't terrible. Yes, they're not wearing a helmet. Yes, their armor isn't much. You are not going to like taking bow fire from anybody or even counter crossbow fire. You are probably getting got if you get hit there. But overall, they're so cheap and so massable, and you have stealth so you can sneak around with these guys. I like these guys quite a bit. Definitely a good unit here. Next up, we have the Zweihander. This is a great unit. 14 gold, 36 resources, 18 recruitment points. So a big step up in cost here. This is nothing to shake a stick at. 13 HP, 11 strength, 11 attack, just on their training. 12 morale. They do still have that -1 because they are an Ulmish troop. They're wielding a Zweihander, or a greatsword in other words. Length 2, 12 attack, 22 slashing damage. Very nice. It gives you an attack. It gives you 2 defense. That's pretty darn nice. They are equipped in full plate mail and a full helmet. So 21 on the body, 21 on the head, true protection. This is quite nice. Again, most people are kind of shooting for that 16-ish line troop damage. These guys are going to be able to shrug off a lot of that type of damage. And in counterattacking, they're going to absolutely slaughter a unit in, I mean, even up to like 20 protection is going to get quite chopped down by a greatsword. These guys are amazing, but they're slow to bring in. You're going to need a lot of resources. This is nothing to shake a stick at. You basically get one of these guys at the cost of 2 of a different infantry type. So the numbers are going to be small, but man, these are good. These guys can definitely do work for you. They would absolutely love having their armor tempered. That little, 2 or 3 extra protection would go a long ways to making them even harder to take care of. If you gave them any other type of protection buff, that would skyrocket this even more. We have no natural protection. In addition, we actually have mages that are quite good at spamming body ethereal. So how about a 21 protection, greatsword wielding ethereal troop? That is spooky. Next up, we have one of our cap-only units. This is the Ghoul Guardian. These guys are quite interesting. They're like the Guardians from Middle Age, but during the siege and the Malediction, they essentially had to turn to cannibalism because they were being sieged out and they were starving. So they turned into ghouls. As a ghoul, 25 poison resist. They are actual undead. They don't eat. They have a castle defense bonus of 2. They have dark vision, and they're corpse eaters. Corpse eaters mean they eat the bodies after battles or whatever kills off population. And these ones can raise their HP by up to 8 extra. That's kind of like temp HP. So these guys could have 24 HP, which is pretty spooky. They have the Black Halberd. We've seen this before. So length 3. They have 12 attack with it. It is slashing or piercing damage. It's magic, and it has Bane of Heresy. So extra effect, I believe this just hits. Like, you don't have to actually hit the unit. If you swing at them, they take this. It does 15 armor piercing fatigue damage. Yeah, and it's area of effect 1, but that only affects gods and sacred units. However, if you're fighting big sacreds or super combatant god, a few of these guys just absolutely piling on. 3 hits and you've already dealt them upwards of maybe 45 fatigue damage. A couple rounds and they're going to go night-night forever because they're going to just spam fatigue on them and they're never going to let them wake up. And that's if they didn't just straight up kill them with their 28 damage. That is absolutely incredible. Remember, on slashing damage, you have a better chance of actually lopping off limbs. And that's kind of based on how much damage is a percentage of total HP you're dealing based on the limb you're hitting. There's a lot of calculations there, but needless to say, this is a limb remover, even against big, scary, like Titan type things. Armor-wise, we have the full plate of Ulm and the half helmet of Ulm. Unfortunately, again, this isn't black plate, but just a native 23 protection that you could pretty easily buff up a little bit more, or heck, just make them ethereal. Could be quite nice. In addition, yes, they are undead. Yes, they are banishable, but they actually have 12 magic resistance instead of the normal 9. So that is pretty handy there. And remember, we could go up to 24 HP if you have some time to kind of march them around and feed them some corpses. So quite a strong set of units here. Remember, though, they are cap only, and look at the price. 20 gold, 44 resources, 47 recruitment points. That is a pricey boy. That is so expensive, it kind of directly competes against our cap-only sacred, the Black Templar. The Black Templar is 75 gold, 72 resources, 51 recruitment points. So this is nothing, this is expensive. 5 of these would be what, like 360 resources, something like that? That is a lot. That's like most capitals. So that is very pricey. 15 HP, 13 strength, quite nice. We do have an extra magic resistance. We are sacred, of course, and we're skilled rider. Our Destrier horse is wearing plate barding of Ulm, which does give full body and head protection. Excellent. That all being said, though, and the mount is sacred. I will call that out. That being said, in my test games, I actually found these guys died quite often. Late Age just has enough damage between other heavy cav, between crossbows, between great swords. There's enough things that actually can kill these. So either you need to invest into maybe something to help them survive a bit more, or maybe you just forget these guys and you go Ghoul Guardians instead, or I don't know. I think these are very dependent on what your bless is. These are not like middle-aged man cavalry, despite looking kind of like they should be. Weapon-wise, they have a lance, a true lance, and then when they've used their lance up, they switch over to a Morning Star, which they're pretty good with. Remember, you get +2 to attack things versus shield. Defense-wise, full plate of Ulm, full helmet, and a kite shield. Kite shields are quite nice. One of my favorite shields in the game, to be sure. Blessing-wise, we'll talk about that when we get to gods, but I found these guys kind of lackluster, weirdly enough. For whatever reason, they just didn't survive enough. I couldn't amass enough of them. But that being said, it's still a heavy cavalry. Heavy cav is still fine. Just think about what you're going to bless them with really carefully. And if it's worth making these in the early game, or maybe you wait a little bit, maybe you have a dormant bless that comes in and you can just make use of it later. A lot more thought here than I originally thought we needed. Heroes, Commanders, and Prophet. For heroes, we actually have 4, and quite good heroes, I would say, overall. We have the Ghoul Baron. Ghoul Baron here is Halt Heretic. This basically is awe against things that are sacred or enemy gods, and 7 is very high. A 7 awe is incredible. He is poison resistant, he's undead, doesn't eat, has 5 castle defense, dark vision 50, he's a corpse eater, and he summons allies. I believe these are wolves. They might be thralls, one or the other. I didn't get him in any of my test games. He has a flail. Remember, flails have 2 attacks. They also get that plus versus shield. He's wearing a half helmet of Ulm and a plate helmet. Overall, I mean, he's very cool, but he's not sacred. He's not a mage. Whatever. It's cool. Maybe send him into the arena. He could kind of clean up in there. Then we have 3 other guys here. We have a member of the 3rd tier ×3. Each one of these guys basically went and infiltrated another nation, and they kind of have like the magic from that nation. So this one went to Marignon, so he now knows fire. So fire 2, astral 3, blood 2. He's a spy, he's stealthy, he's old, has okay research. I like these guys because they bring in high fire, or this guy. Next one, this is the guy that infiltrated Pythium. He learned some nature magic. Again, I believe this is our only nature magic on the nation. That's cool. And our last guy here, he infiltrated Man and learned some air magic. So these guys are really nice because they bring in some magic variety that you don't otherwise have. And having 2 paths means you can craft a few more things than maybe you otherwise would think. They also could do remote site searching if they could get the gem income rolling a little bit just to get them going on that. Quite nice. I like these guys quite a bit. I think I like these enough that I'm very hesitant to dump our Fortune Misfortune. Whereas if I didn't have these heroes, I think I would be more inclined for doing it. We do have a fortune telling unit, which kind of counters some of the penalty there. I don't know. I'm a little torn. We definitely could use the design points from Misfortune, and having a decent fortune teller kind of helps, but I like these guys quite a bit. I won't lie. I actually like these guys quite a bit for just that magic diversity that they bring in. Going up to commanders, we start off with the Ranger Captain. Unfortunately, this is our equivalent of a scout. He's 60 gold, 8 resources, but what do you get? An Ulmish guy that has 50 leadership. He has stealth and forest survival. He has an axe and a crossbow and the leather armor. So he could stealthily lead around other rangers, or he could be a slightly more expensive scout for you. Either way, it's fine. And frankly, at least he has a crossbow. So if he does have to fight something, I mean, maybe he gets lucky. He's pretty good with it. Next up, we have the Commander of Ulm. Unfortunately, just 14 protection on the body, which is it's a little low. It's a little low. We do have the tower shield. He's wielding a broadsword. He has 100 leadership, 95 gold, 24 resources, 1 recruitment point. That's a perfectly fine cost for 100 leadership. At least has the tower shield. He works. He's fine. I like him enough. Next up, we have the Black Acolyte. 65 gold, 1 resource, 1 recruitment point. That's almost equivalent to a indie priest. He comes in at priest level 1. He has a 10% chance of getting earth, and he's an inquisitor. As an inquisitor, you double your priest levels to preach away enemy candles. So he counts as if he's priest level 2 for the purposes of doing that. Otherwise, not particularly impressive here. Next up, we have an illuminated one. These can be recruited outside forts as well. Do note, not sacred, so all you need is a lab to be able to recruit these guys outside of forts. That would make them very slow to recruit because they're a 2 recruitment point unit, but there's something to be said about just getting outside of fort mage recruitment, and it's a very good mage, actually. 105 gold for a human mage that has astral. That's actually really good. I like mages that are just astral 1. You can be in communions and do something interesting. You could just spam body ethereal and be useful. You could spam magic duel for 105 gold and 1 pearl. And if you snipe something out, hooray. They're also stealthy and can spy. So you could stealth into position for magic dueling, let's say, or to run around and spy on things. Quite nice, quite versatile. A very, very good mage. One of my favorites in late age so far, actually. I just love the versatility of a stealthy astral 1, can be got outside of forts, so a non-fort required mage. Even if that makes them very slow, I like it. And I mean, 105 gold once every 4 turns is like nothing. Turn as many of these on as you can, in my opinion. Next up, we have member of the 2nd tier. Same thing, can be recruited outside of forts as well. These guys jump up quite a bit. We've doubled our cost to 210, still 2 recruitment points, so they're going to be very slow to recruit outside of forts. But Astral 2, Blood 1, and a 10% of Fire, Astral, Death, Blood, so don't really count on any of that. 11 research for 168 a year is not efficient at all. They are stealthy and a spy. Astral 2s are really nice. You can mind burn right off of the jump. You could give yourself Power of the Spheres into Astral 3 spells, which can be kind of nice. Let's backtrack just 1 second. I do want to point out 7 research for 84 gold is also not efficient on him, but that's getting closer. Next up, we have the Black Priest. This is a priest level 2. He guarantees himself in earth, and he has a 100% chance of fire, air, earth, or astral. So not particularly amazing there. There's some interesting cross paths. He's a forge bonus 1, so he reduces the cost. So depending on which one of these you roll, you could make 4 gem jars of fire, 4 gem alquills, slightly reduced dwarven hammers or boots, although that's going to take some strapping to get into. He's fine. I do wish we could guarantee ourselves Earth 2's a little better. Earth 2 is the big breakpoint for Earth. Having somebody who could guarantee make Earth boots for these guys would be really nice. That would help a ton, I think. Otherwise, they are Inquisitors, so they're actually a priest level 4 for the purposes of preaching away enemy candles. That's very strong. 9 research for 90 gold actually makes him your efficient researcher, but you're paying a lot for that. 225 for your initial cost versus 105. So I think generally speaking, I'm getting illuminated ones as my main researcher. Yeah, they're not quite as efficient, but they're so much cheaper. Like we're paying an extra 14 gold. That's going to be 5 or 6 turns before you actually even break even with that increased cost. And they, I think, in general, are more useful because of body ethereal spam than a random crafty type, preacher type mage. He's just paying for a lot of things. If you're crafting, you're not preaching, you're not casting spells. If you're casting spells, you're not crafting or preaching. So he just is trying to do a lot of things, and you have to pay for that up here. Next up, we have the Wolf Herd. Can only be recruited in capital, which is a darn shame. I wish we could get these everywhere. Why? 75 gold, 2 resources, 1 recruitment point. He's a bog standard Ulmian man. He comes in with Animal Awe 2, the most powerful ability in the game, according to Carlos. Stealthy 40, Mountain Survival, Forest Survival. He's uninspiring. He has Beastmaster +3, and he summons allies. Summon ally is an action, and he will call in 2 wolves for you. So you can see if you can get a chunk of these guys, I don't know, let's say 10 of them, that means you'd get 20 wolves that have no upkeep every single turn. Why would you want that? Mainly for patrollers, but also for just arrow catchers or just gum up the field guys so you have some extra time to buff up or do something else. I like these guys quite a lot. Let's just pull back here and let me find somebody who has a wolf. Here's a wolf, 8 HP, 9 strength, 20 map move. They're size 3, so these are huge human-sized wolves. Bad magic resist because they're animals. They have good morale, so they're not going to run away too soon. They have snow move, stealthy, mountain survival, forest survival. They're animals and undisciplined. They have a bite that is 11 attack for 11 slashing. That's actually pretty good. You could kill a lighter troop with some of these guys. 3 per square. We have a national spell that gives them invulnerable. 15, I think. It's very hard to cast. There's only a size 1 variety, which sucks. Why? I don't know. I wish we had a size like step up 1 to at least a size 20 buff. Because why would I cast that spell when I could just make them body ethereal? Both of them are countered by magic weapons. I'd rather just have the chance not to get hit than to try to survive a hit with 15 invuln. I don't know. The main thing about the wolves is they have 0 upkeep. So if you need to do patrols, the wolves are quite good at it, and we're going to want to patrol because we're going to want to do some blood stuff. Next up, we have Ghoul Commander. This is a cap-only recruit. 150 gold, 44 resources, 1 recruitment point. He has poison resist, he's undead, doesn't eat, has castle defense bonus, dark vision, and is a corpse eater. Great morale. 18 morale is nothing to sniff at. Good magic resistance. Has the same half helmet and full plate. Wielding the black halberd. Quite a beast of a unit. Do note, he only has leadership 50 though, so no formations, which kind of sucks. I wish he had 100 leadership. But he has 100 undead leadership, so he can move around plenty of guardians. Overall, I like this guy. Very expensive though at the 44 resources. Next up, we have the Hawkmeister. This is our cap-only sacred leader. Priest level 1 and sacred. That is always really nice. That means you could take him plus up to 5 guys as bodyguards. He can bless them all and then attack in, and his bodyguards will go with him. Because they're bodyguards, you can script him for 5 rounds, and the bodyguards will stay with him and then go. You can try to do some light expansion with these guys. At least with the blesses I was testing, I didn't have too much luck. Maybe with a heavier protection buff, they would be better. What I like about these guys is bless for 5 rounds and then attack rear. And you can guarantee this guy and his guys will probably get behind, because most people's troops are only going to be able to hold still for 2 rounds and then they're going to start moving away. So it's hard to get something to hold in place to protect from these guys. Same equipment as the standard guy. He is a combat caster, but that doesn't do much, because at priest level 1 you can basically bless or you could banish, and neither one of those you really care about. It's unfortunate. I wish he had like a random magic path or something to make combat caster more useful. 72 resources is very expensive, just also of note. It was very difficult in my test games to even get one of these guys and 3 to 5 knights out. Very difficult. Ideally, you'd get one of these and 5 knights in a round, so you could have a full like unit march out, but in practice, I didn't find that happening very often. Finally, we have the Fortune Teller, can be recruited in the capital. 135 gold, 1 resource, 2 recruitment point. Do note, this is cap only. She's Astral 1 and gets a random 100% of Astral, Death, Glamour, or Blood. So we don't have the best blood, and we do want to do some blood hunting. So she's one way that we could get it. The other way is off of the member of the second tier. 210 gold, but you're guaranteed a 1. Also not cap only. Versus 135, and you have a 25% chance to get blood. I do kind of like getting these, though, because they're fortune teller 15. So if you could stack up a few of these in important places to help ward off some of the events that maybe kills Pop or takes gems away or something, that could be pretty nice. This is also access to glamour, which can be kind of nice. Astral 2s. None of this excites me particularly much. The blood's nice because it's cheap. Astral 2s are nice because they're Astral 2s, but overall, I'm not like jumping out of my seat excited. Morale of 8 for 108 upkeep per year. So again, not really super efficient, but again, they have Fortune Teller. The bad ones could be given an Owl Quill or a Dreamstone or both, and then they can go research in various forts that you want to protect from events. So these are fine. Do note that we have a Citadel. So as a Citadel, you get 3 recruitment points per turn. So you get 1.5 of these per turn. Not that pricey, but at the beginning of the game, maybe you can go cheaper and you get 1.5 of these guys. So I don't know. I'm a little torn on when I want to get my fortune tellers, but I do like them overall. They're just not like, oh wow, what an amazing cap only mage. They're fine. They're useful. Who would I make my prophet? I actually think you have a couple viable options here. You could just go with Commander of Ulm. It's a 100 leadership guy. He has a tower shield. He's cheap. He's easy to get out. I believe you start with 1. That's fine. You could go a stealthy commander and make a ranger 1. Do note he doesn't have the most stealth. Maybe giving him a stealth item to boost that a little bit might not be a terrible idea, but you could go around and do some stealth preaching. That can be handy. Also, map move of 14 doesn't stand out. I suppose our ghouls, because they can march forever, actually is higher. Next one I would mention is actually the ghoul commander as a prophet. He has more HP. He can eat corpses and get that higher. He can have more map move than your other troops. So that could be interesting. No shield, but that's fine. It's not like he can get picked out overly easily. If you do make him your prophet, might consider giving yourself some more magic resistance just to make sure you don't get oopsied and banished or something. Because remember, he is undead, and that opens you up to a lot of nasty, nasty spells. Finally, the Hawkmeister, I actually think is pretty decent as a prophet. Not quite as much map move, weirdly enough, at 16, but he has high protection. He's mounted. He has a kite shield. I like these guys quite a bit. 100 leadership means he can lead troops around. I think you do just fine with any of those. I think my least favorite's the commander, and any of the other 3 can work. I'm not too partial to stealthy prophets, but some people love them. I think one of these 2 is the way to go. Do note, if you're using this guy, be careful. People can target cavalry with their crossbows. So if you don't have any other cavalry, they can kind of zero in on this guy and just hose him down, which kind of gives a bonus to this guy since you can't really target him particularly easily. So kind of a bit of a choice here, more than on a lot of nations, I would say. As for national items, we have 1 national item. We have the Black Halberd. It's a lesser magical item, so construction 3. 5 earth gems, needs an earth 1 mage to do. So something that's totally craftable. Do I love it? Yeah, maybe. This would be something that might be interesting for arena. A lot of people send sacred things to the arena, and this is a pretty nasty weapon against those type of people. Do note though, do I really want this stat line over just a great sword of sharpness? I don't know. Having the armor piercing, 15 magic damage, same cost, has higher attack and defense versus some attack, some defense. It's longer so you can parry, and the Bane of Heresy effect. I don't know, but it's something. It's okay. It's totally usable. You're not going to hate that you have it. That's for sure. As for magic, we actually have quite a bit of magic. At Conjuration 3, we have Sloth of Bears, because of course we do. One of our national heroes can actually cast this, so it at least gets the points that it's natively castable. 6 nature gems gets you 15 plus bears. Bears are actually not the worst for siege strength, so that's something, I suppose. But am I going to spend my precious nature gems on some bears when I could make other nature items like supply items that might be very vital? I don't know about that. Next in evocation, we have a couple. We have Iron Darts. This is returning from Middle Age. Iron Darts, number of effects is 3+, and I believe that scales on your Earth amount. Precision 5, so they're pretty darn precise. Range 40. Only 10 fatigue, and they do 13 magic piercing damage. It's armor piercing like a crossbow bolt, and it does double damage versus magical beings, and is an iron attack, if that's relevant. Not a terrible spell, so you're getting 3 shots each. If you go to the big brother at 6 for Iron Blizzard, down to range 30, but we have 20+ effects, so a lot of them in the air. Precision 3, 50 fatigue though, 10 piercing magic damage, same other stats. This is a lot of shots. You could get, I don't know, let's say 5 priests. You could do it twice in a row before you pass out. You probably get it off 3 times. So let's just say twice. That would mean you'd get 200 shots in the air in the first 2 rounds if you're in range. That's quite a bit. You could stall around by doing like Bless and then Iron Blizzard, Iron Blizzard. That's a lot of essentially crossbow shots in the air. Quite spooky, but then they're going to poop out and they're not going to do much. So I don't know. I'm not loving that one as much as I might otherwise. Next up in enchantment, at enchant 4, we have Gift of the Moon. Requires Astral 1. It is an area effect 1, range 30+. It's 100% precise, 20 fatigue, and it gives wolves invulnerability 15. This would be a very interesting spell if we could scale the area of effect. Like, why don't we have one at 6 that is like Astral 2 or 3 and then gives us a size 20 or requires a gem or something? I don't know if 15 invulnerability on some undisciplined wolves is better than just giving them body ethereal. Or heck, why don't we not buff our wolves and we could give body ethereal to our Zweihanders? That sounds a lot better to me. So I don't know. Let me know if you think Gift of the Moon is like special. I'm just not really seeing it, especially with the opportunity cost of what those mages could otherwise be doing. Next up in Thaumaturgy, we have Tempering the Will. This is a Earth 3, so this is not easy for us to do. We need to 25% random into an Earth 2, then he's going to Earth Power, and then he can do Tempering the Will. But if you do it, entire battlefield for 20 fatigue gives us magic resistance. I believe this is +1. Correct me if I'm wrong on that, but you can resist it and not get it. So basically you're going to do summon Earth Power, and then you're going to do this 4 times in a row to try to have your own troops fail the spell so they gain the +1 magic resistance. You would want to get this off before you get anti-magic off, because once you get anti-magic off, it's going to be harder for you to actually land the spell. It's been so long since I've actually used anti-magic. Here we go. Anti-magic itself does not require any saves, so you're guaranteed to do it, and it grants a +4. So I would schedule anti-magic on the last round of scripting. So have some other mage do something else for 4 rounds, and then on the 5th round, he'll anti-magic. So you're trying to get your other one off, and then you just guarantee everyone gets even more at the end. And this is easier to cast, frankly, because we can always just communion our way up. For at absolute worst, we have a communion master and 4 slaves cast anti-magic on turn 1. Just done. And you don't have to worry about it. So I don't know on that one. Again, it's fine. It's usable. This is a lot easier. It is higher, and it is enchantment. So maybe there's a reason that you really want to go down Thaumaturgy, although I'm not sure what it really is because we don't have a lot of these pathings to make good use of them. But it's there. It can happen. Finally, what I would consider either the nation-defining spell or a spell you're probably going to completely ignore because you went 100% scales. And that's in Blood Magic at level 0. So you start with this spell. For 3 blood and 3 death, we have Sanguine Heritage. 44 blood slaves is not super cheap, but not really expensive either. What do you get? You get one of your unique vampire, I'm going to call them heroes, I guess, or unique lords. Quite good. There are a decent number of them, and I won't say they're all amazing, but most of them are amazing. They bring in blood and death pretty strongly to your nation, and I think all or most of them are immortal, so you don't even have to worry about losing them once you get them. And you can actually pump 44 blood slaves pretty dang fast if you're committed to the gig here. So a very interesting spell, gets us better blood hunters than we would get from our blood ones, generally speaking. And that can catapult us into other things. I mean, even just summon imps is a lot of disruption. But if we want to go higher, Blood Right at 6 gets us normal vampires for 11. Do note that these are immortal. So if you've ever watched one of my runs where we had to do a vampire throne, these guys are actually super annoying. They're legitimately annoying. They have a high invulnerability and they have a blood drain attack or a life drain attack. They're hard to deal with and they're immortal. So even if things flop, they're just going to reform and you can just give it another go. So quite powerful there, and maybe worth jumping up here. If nothing else, 6 also gets you Blood Rain, which is a great morale breaker, and you can spam that quite easily. It also gets you Harm, which is a very gross spell that gives chest wounds out, so can be quite nasty there. If you empower a little bit, Ritual of the 5 Gates also, if you want to go demons instead of vampires, can be pretty powerful there. So a lot of different options here for a lot of blood power, and it's all spiked off of that Sanguine Heritage that, like I said, either you're going to love that spell or you're going to say, forget it, I'd rather just go Scales Troops, because you kind of have to build for this. We don't have this natively, and not easily at all. So you're going to have a lot of work to get this if you don't design a pretender to do this spell for you. Outside of those big spells, I would say for researching, summon Earth Power out of Conjuration, and possibly Dark Knowledge for searching could be rather useful. Some of the various ethereal things could be kind of useful. Ghosts or Specters. Specters gets us a mage that can give us a little more diversity. Ghosts are kind of nasty to deal with. We do have a little bit of death income, so that can be rather nice. In Alteration, of course, number 1 for me is Body Ethereal. The earth buffs can be useful outside of that. Evocation, I don't think we're particularly interested in Evocation. You can commune some guys up and do something, but for the most part, we have Astral and Blood and really tiny pathing that we're not going to see a ton of use from. In Construction, tons of things. We have a crafter who has multiple paths, so he can make lots of different stuff. Key amongst them, I would say, would be Owl Quills. While our crafter unit can't do it, we also could do Dreamstones, Sanguine Dowsing Rods, various different boosters that we can get, tons and tons of stuff. I think Construction 5 is a strong contender. If you go Blood and you're able to go Super Greed and rush Construction 5, that would be very strong with those Sanguine Dowsing Rods. You'd probably go Construction 5 and then leap into Blood. Could be something pretty powerful there. In addition, the buffs from Legion of Steel is greatly appreciated by our troops. Doing a Earth 4 is very difficult for us. We'd have to probably spend 2 gems to cast it, but that's an entire battlefield. Plus 3 protection on every piece of armor is very nice, and it takes our troops to very hard to actually damage levels of protection. In Enchant, Strength of Giants isn't the worst. We're not super weak for damage. We're actually pretty good at that. We kind of lack an attack and attack density, but it doesn't hurt, to be sure. Beyond those, we also could do like Shatter Hammers. These can stun things on our Morning Stars. That's where I kind of think those would really fit in well. Beyond those, Gift of the Moon is also here. Not a ton else, unfortunately. Thaumaturgy for communions, of course. Beyond the communions, again, just mind burn with some light, like Light of the Northern Star, and then all of our astral ones can mind burn. I guess I should say in Conjuration, Light of the Northern Star is very interesting because, where are you at? At 4. A little difficult for us to do, but we can get it up for sure. That would make our body ethereal spammers take a lot less fatigue. It would also allow all of our astral ones to be mind burners. Could be pretty interesting there. So I definitely think there's something to be said about this. We do have some astral income too, so we'll have some gems to spend. And then, as mentioned already in Blood, I think the vampires are very interesting to me, and Blood Rain early. Assuming you go even deeper, you could get yourself up to Curse of Blood. Curse of Blood brings in other vampire commanders, and you can even go even deeper and harder into Blood with that. Beyond those, or my Demon Knights. Demon Knights are still pretty good. So Blood 2, Earth 2. Again, you'd have to kind of make a pretender probably to do this. Although you could take a priest that's Earth 2 and then give him 2 blood. That's not that bad. Blood's the easiest thing, in my opinion, to empower in. And Demon Knights are expensive, but they're still good. And you're going to go blood pretty heartily anyways, so you could do something like Strength from Hell, and that could give them quite, I believe it's 4 extra strength, make them quite nasty, needless to say. Okay, so let's bring all that together. Ulm has fallen a lot from their middle age. Losing Black Steel is a big deal. What did they get from that, though? Well, a streamlined roster, some decently armored units that are very expensive, and a good medium troop that struggles a little bit in late age. In addition, the unique spell for doing the vampires is just fun and it's different, and I do think it's viable, but it takes time to ramp up. If you're rushing that and somebody else is rushing you, you're going to be in a bad way, I think. But that's maybe where the Ghoul Guardians could help you out. Because if you're getting rushed, it's probably by either a god or some sacreds with some BS buff on them. And those Bane of Heresy halberds are pretty nasty against things like that. As a generic troop, I don't think they're worthwhile. I think the Zweihanders are just more efficient. And they're just our best troop in general. We have a Sacred that looks good on paper, but in practice, I didn't find great. Although, again, your mileage may vary depending on what your bless is. Speaking of blesses, let's look at pretenders and scales. Remember, for our scales, we have a terminal limit of +1, which means we can only go up to order +1. We also have a magic limit of +1, but I find it very difficult to actually have the points to do that. For chassis, we actually have a pretty decent spread here, and I do think, depending on whether you want to do the blood thing or not, you actually have a decent amount of variety. Starting down in Dom 1, we do have the Vampire Queen. I feel that she's very overpriced at 250 points. She does give you Blood 2 and Death 1. Otherwise, she's basically just a vampire. She does have regenerating flesh. She has invulnerability 25. 25's a little iffy, especially with that low of HP. She is immortal and true immortality, so she'll just keep coming back unless she's Soul Slayer. But, yeah, I don't know. If you're going with her, you're probably going in on the blood stuff, which means you need Death 3, Blood 3 at bare minimum. And if you're going to do Blood 3, Death 3, you're probably going to go at least here. And, I don't know, Enchanted Blood or something, but yeah, you're probably going to want her awake. I don't know. I'm not in love with this chassis at all. Moving up from there, we also have Master Alchemist. Maybe that's interesting. You could turn some fire gems or some earth gems into more money, but I'm not so sure about that one. Great Sage for just boosting our income. We do have Svartal Mastersmith. Remember, he can shapeshift into the Lenormand. That can be kind of nice. Note his pathing changes when he shapeshifts, so just be aware of that. I do like this chassis. I do find he can expand, but expansion monsters in late age are spooky. There's so many lances, great swords, and crossbows that I feel like you just get shot up really badly. Moving up to Dom 2, as previously mentioned, here's a Lenormand, but why would I take this Lenomer here that can't shapeshift when I could pay an extra 30 for the shapeshifting ability, and I bring in Mastersmith and Dragon Master? I just think this is the better value. Also, this has Sloth. We really, really want production, so bringing in Sloth, I feel, is a bad plan. Speaking of, yeah, we don't have any production people here, so none of them are particularly great. I don't think we need an Expander God, particularly. You could do something with Man-Eater, perhaps. We definitely would need Hard Skin for sure. You can't do the death that you need for your spell. This would be really hard for me to justify. I would probably go Enchanted Blood here. You'd really want this guy awake if you're taking him. I guess we go with some Misfortune, and I guess a lot, because we're going to need some Dominion. Gonna need this. We're going to want that. I guess we go Cold. Oh. Oh. I don't know about that. I don't know about that. He does let you do your special blood stuff. He could lightly expand. So he has 20 protection with hard skin. You're going to need to research him, at least stone skin, preferably iron skin, preferably temper flesh, to really be safe. But maybe he could do it. Moving up to Dom 3, I think the interesting things from Dom 3 are actually things that have production. So that is either the duo of farming at 220 or a Titan of the Forge at 240. I think either one of those would be okay. I like the magic paths that you get out of a Titan of the Forge over the ones I like for the duo. Although if you're really, really going scales, the extra growth could be of interest to you. So for him, you could go... I'm not even going to look. I'm not even trying to say the other stuff, but for him, you could get these as your baseline scales. I guess if you're going full scales, you probably want that and that. Minus 250. Wow. So he's like all in on scales. He has 100 points. I don't even know what we're getting here. Something. This would be big scales, though. I don't think he's worth it in that regard. Up in the top row, Irminsul, he does have that sight, so if you go full imprisoned, you do at least get that extra nature gem. We already have a magic scale, so idle sorcery is less interesting. Just depending on your pathing, maybe these would be useful. I actually do think Fountain of Blood is a good pick on this nation. Yeah, you don't get any of the scale stuff, but Blood 3 is pretty high, depending on what you want to get. Let's take a look at a couple builds that I actually made here. View Pretenders. Let's start ourselves off with... let's start with Oldcraft. Oldcraft is a Titan of the Forge. His main focus is getting in that production 3. He does come in at Imprisoned, so you're not going to see him anytime soon. He gets Enchanted Blood and Blood Surge. I don't feel like this Bless is enough for your Sacreds to really stand out. It's usable and it's noticeable, but unless you buff them with something else, and preferably it's going to be Body Ethereal, let's be honest. With Body Ethereal, they're actually pretty decent here. You can heal up a little bit from the Enchanted Blood, you get extra magic resistance, and you stop bleeding, which can kind of matter. And then you have Blood Surge. I just like Blood Surge in general. Gives you extra reinvig, gives us extra attack and strength. That helps your horse actually do damage, which kind of doubles your kills per turn. That's kind of handy. He has good scales here, so he can just rely on his main troops a lot more. But is how I kind of felt on him. He does have the pathing we need just in case we need it when we get there. He also could put on some earth boots, and he could do Riches from Beneath if somehow you lucked into the earth gems needed. That would be a nice spell for us. Next person, let's look at Viscasa. She is a great enchantress. That gives us a extra glamour gem, so it ups our glamour income to 2. She comes in at dormant because I wanted to have some scales with her. She has the same bless, but we added heroism. Heroism is just a good bless. Once your knights start getting XP, extra attack, extra defense, extra fatigue reduction, very nice stuff that you can get out of that. Can help some of our other sacreds a tiny bit, although I wouldn't take it just for that. Up here, she actually is trying to summon in more diversity. She has the stuff we need to do the blood stuff, but she also can do gnomes. And gnomes give us a nice access to earth magic for buffing our troops, which we're kind of lacking easy access to in this nation. So we can turn our glamour gems into gnomes who can then use earth magic. That's kind of the thought process there. Finally, we have Well of Malediction. I like this one a lot. This is the test game I enjoyed the most. He is an awake blood fountain. Now, you pay a lot for that. We only got 4 Dominion score. That's a little low. We did get our order and our production. This is an argument I could see dropping at least 1 misfortune. And then with that 1 misfortune's points, we could get some more Dominion. 4 is very sketch. You're definitely going to need to build some temples as soon as you can to get that up to 5. But from turn 1, you can do blood hunting, and you have blood searcher 3. So you're searching as if you're a blood 8. I usually would get somewhere between 10 and 15 blood slaves from my capital. So every, let's say, 5 turns, I could summon in one of those special vampires. Oh, and I didn't show those. We'll circle back to those here in a second. And that was pretty good, actually. But like I said, you're really paying for that. Let's actually create a pretender god, late age, on Ulm. Okay, load me in him. If we did that, if we drop this, a 7, we are not going to be able to afford 7 sacreds. So that's a bit of an oof, and we're not going to be able to afford another scale, or excuse me, another magic point. So, yikes, I don't know about that. Maybe instead we could do this. This maybe wouldn't be quite as painful. Or alternatively, maybe we go heat 1. I think you could play around a little bit. This feels a lot better than 4, but 7's an awful lot too. So I don't know on that one. Let's also, because I didn't show them off, take a peek here. These are our special summons. This is not all inclusive. There's an armored knight guy that has like blood 2, earth 2, astral 1 that's not shown here, at least. I'm not going to go into full details here, but for the most part, we're vampires. We summon in thralls. Thralls are garbage. We have invulnerability, standard vampire stuff. We are immortal, and we have some variety of death and blood. 2 and 2 here, just 2 blood, 3 blood, a death and a blood, 2 and 2, 2 and 2, 3 and 1. So that is 7 of them, plus the one I got that's not listed. That makes 8 of them at minimum. There might be more that I just didn't see. So a lot of these guys, and they're fun and they're cool. They're immortal, so you can be kind of aggressive with them, which is fun. You don't have to like hide them away like you do on a lot of like unique summons. Quite fun. I like these guys a lot. I think they're the flavor of late age Ulm, so why not use them? In conclusion, late age Ulm has changed a lot since middle age. I don't feel that it's necessarily the top tier nation. I think that you have an early game weakness that's hard to overcome, but you have a very cool, unique thing with all the vampire lords you can summon in. It's cool to do this like gothic vampire nation. It's fun. They do have access to death, blood, and astral, which is all the goodies that you would want in late age, with a smattering of other magic that can help you out. So I don't think they're too bad there. We have some interesting free spawn type things we can do to help us patrol. We have good crossbow access. We have okay troops to good troops, depending on how much you can afford to get out. Overall, I think this is a very, very fun nation. We'll see where it lands on the tier list. I'm really curious to see what people's thoughts are on Ulm. I find them decent to good is my current ranking in my mind. All right, thank you for hanging out with Ulm with me today. Hopefully you didn't get too spooked by the Black Forest and the vampires therein. If you enjoy these, don't forget to leave a like on the video. It's always appreciated. If you are not subscribed, I hope this is the video that has earned your subscription. And if you'd like to go above and beyond, you can always leave a super thanks on the video. You could join us live and super chat, or consider becoming a member of the channel. As a member of the channel, you get early access to pre-game videos, or other videos that I'm working on, along with just supporting the channel in general. Thanks to supporters, I'm able to do what I do and continue to grow. So thank you to everyone, whether you're a monetary supporter, a viewer, or a chatter. I appreciate you. All right, I'll see you in the Forest Builders. Catch you there. Babble out.